Welcome to today's First Chesapeake Chat session. I'm Victoria Mulvihill, a First Chesapeake alumni, and I'm here to introduce the First Chesapeake Chats sponsored by Newport News Shipbuilding. I'd like to thank this session sponsor, Dominion Energy, for making this chat possible. Just some housekeeping, we'll let the speakers present and then open up for discussion questions later if there's time. But feel free to put questions in the comments throughout the chat and we will try to get to them all. The session today is Spreading First in Other Schools and School Districts, presented by Team 1629 GACO. And I will now pass it over to Katie, Liv, and Chuck to introduce themselves. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us. Hey, okay, so with me, my name's Chuck. I'm the team advisor for GACO, FRC Team 1629. And with me, I have our senior, Katie, or one of our seniors. We have actually, 13 seniors this year. Sad to see you all guys leave. But we have Katie with us. She's the lead of our awards submission sub-team this year. And then we have Liv, and she's a junior, and she's going to be taking Katie's place. So these girls do a great job in telling GACO's story, and so we'll get started. And we're going to start off with you, Katie. And I know it's a bit of a repeat from what we said on Tuesday, but could you start us off by saying why spreading first is so important to GACO? And starting first teams is important to us. And I know people might assume they think they know, but it's good just to put it on the record why it's so important for us to start these first teams in other school districts.
Sure. So it all starts with our team's vision, which again is to have all students in Appalachia to be STEM ready, which means that they have the skills necessary to emerge from elementary school to be successful in STEM. And so starting first teams based on the GACO model throughout Appalachia is a result of our vision for STEM ready kids. Now, we talked about this briefly in the other video, but there are three components of the GACO model. The first one is establishing meaningful partnerships. The second one is mentoring younger first teams. And lastly, making a systemic impact. So by establishing teams based on our model, we will ensure that kids throughout Appalachia are STEM ready. And what's really exciting is that an FTC team in West Virginia we started a couple of years ago. They have already started FLL teams of their own. And this kind of just shows that they're starting to implement our model of starting younger first teams. And we find that progress very encouraging. And then also, you might ask why GACO believes that we can make a difference in Appalachia, or why we're even attempting to make Appalachia our region of making a difference. And we believe that we need to make a difference where we can. And some teams may find their quote unquote mission fields to be overseas, on reservations, in inner cities, or in a variety of other places. But since we live in the Appalachian region, we feel that that's where we can make the most significant difference, and specifically in rural K-12 schools and school districts. I guess you could say that K through 12 education in the Appalachian region is GACO's niche.
Okay, I unmuted myself. Okay, so thanks, Katie. That was a great explanation. And I have some slides, so if we can just bring those up, thanks. As Katie said, our GACO's mission field, if you will, is Appalachia. Now, we've partnered with the Appalachian Regional Commission, it's AORC. That's a federal agency that serves the region you see here outlined in white. And what that is the AORC is a agency that focuses on pretty much the economic development aspects of this Appalachian region. And because we've partnered with them, we're working with them with a grant to help start first teams in their service area. That's pretty much how we define Appalachia. And if you see here, it goes all the way from New York State all the way down to Alabama and into Mississippi and Georgia. So it's a big area, and we know that we can't do it all in that area, but that's why we want to start first teams based on our model, so that they can help us with our vision of STEM-ready kids across Appalachia. Okay, let's see, next slide here real quick. Want to see if I can get to the next slide here. So lessons learned. I do want to talk about this. I'm hoping some questions come up in chat, but in the meantime, one of my mentors in education taught me that no significant learning takes place without a significant relationship. So what that means to me right now, or GACO right now, as we start these first teams in other school districts, is that no real progress could be made unless we first start a relationship with that school district. And it's all about establishing trust with schools and school districts. And that's that's what we really concentrate on when we first identify a school district, is establishing that trust relationship. We want them to know that we're there for them, and that they can depend on us. The other thing that's really important, and Katie did a great job in starting us out, is that school districts, superintendents, principals, and administrators have to know why we want to do this before they care about what exactly we want to do. There's an excellent TED Talk, and I've linked it here on the slideshow, and hopefully maybe we can get this link up on the Twitch site, or associated with this YouTube, so that you'll have that link. Anyways, it's a great video explaining that people really care more why than they do about the what, and so we do concentrate on the why. The other thing that we've learned is to be patient. This last spring, we've had success in starting 2 First Lego League teams in a school district just north of us in Pennsylvania, but it's been 2 years in the making. And we first met with that superintendent in February 2018, and it's taken a while to work with their comfort level and their timing, but in that, it gave us a good opportunity to lay a good foundation to build the program out. Once it's started, and it is started, and I can't be more pleased with the way it went this last season. The superintendent actually accompanied the 2 teams to their qualifier up in Pennsylvania. So they have a bright future with First. And again, that's all the result of being patient and just being encouraging, but there's a fine line of being encouraging and then being pushy. The other thing that we've learned is to do our homework, and we do our homework help us develop a plan, but it also helps us to develop that relationship with the school system, or the school. So we do a lot of homework. We do a lot of research. We find out how many schools that are in the school district, and most of the school districts in that we work with are county based. So the whole county is the actual school district of the school system. So we do a lot of research on the number of schools, number of students, any innovative programs they might already have in place, what their budget is for sustainability of First programs, if they've been identified by their state agency for any special needs. Okay, we see if there's something we can do to help meet those needs. See what kind of administrative support they have, parent and community support, and potential for some partnerships for funding. So all that we do in advance. I mean, we'll even go to the extent of actually subscribe to local newspapers online in the school systems that serve the school systems that we're trying to start First programs in, just to get an idea as to how best we can make a difference and help them start a First program based on the GACO model. The other thing that we've learned is, especially in West Virginia, and that is we have to be prepared to answer the question of why First instead of some other robotics program. And so, again, we all know why those reasons exist, right? And I've kind of listed them out here. I think the big ones that stand out to me, that it enables and encourages teams like ours to develop programs that have systemic impact, that make a difference to every student, that's in their school district, whether if they're in a first team or not. And it's first is it's a significant investment for a lot of school systems as far as cost is concerned, and it's we have to make sure that they get the most out of the program as they can in terms of having a systemic impact. First does a great job in aligning its programs to curriculum and to standards with the Common Core and the Next Gen standards. The link for that is there, where you can search for it on the FIRST website. And of course, it's got a wonderful progression of programs, right? That's scalable and flexible, that goes all the way from preschool all the way up through high school. And of course, we all know that FIRST is more than just about robots, right? So there's all kinds of skills that students can benefit from and get experience in. And of course, we have those great methods and gracious professionalism and cooperation and tenets of FIRST and core values. All those need to be shared with teams, not teams, but with school systems that are looking to start a robotics program, because there again, there's lots of them out there other than FIRST, and we choose FIRST in order to make the most difference as we can. So we make sure that's we communicate that clearly. So anyways, those are some of the things that we've learned, and before I hand it off to Liv, who's going to explain a little bit and share from experience a school system that we visited in Georgia, I'm going to back up to the AORC map here. And I did want to point out that here's the Chesapeake District, of course, with Virginia and Maryland. But there's a lot of counties in Virginia, on the western edge of Virginia, that are in the AORC service area. So we're anxious to be able to find some teams to work with in those counties, those school systems, to see if we can help in any way develop FIRST programs, specifically in the western Virginia area. And it goes all the way up here to the almost to the panhandle of West Virginia on down, that we can cooperate or partner with in order to start some FIRST programs in that area. There again, with our AORC grant, we are able to fund startup of teams and get them what they need in order to participate in any of the FIRST programs they choose to start with, and then build out from there. Okay, so just right before the COVID-19 hit, we were able to arrange a trip to a school down in Georgia, down here all the way in Douglasville County, which is just right inside the AORC area. And so Liv was able to join us with that trip. So Liv, do you want to talk a little bit about our trip to Douglasville?
Yeah, I'd love to. So our trip to Douglasville was actually very short. It was a connection that my dad had with his old buddy from college. They used to be best friends, and we see them about twice a year, and he knew about our team because, like, whenever we're over there, I talked to him about it and different things like that. And one day I was showing him, like, our different waypoint lessons and stuff that we had, and they're very into the STEM education down there, but they've never seen anything like what we had, so they're very interested in it. So we took a trip down on Sunday. We left Sunday morning and drove 12 hours down, and then we stayed the night, ate dinner with them that night, talked to them about what we'd be doing the next morning, and then the next morning we went to their school, and it's a Christian academy. And he's actually the principal there. So whenever we were there, they have about 150 students, but we taught the 2nd through 12th graders at their school, which ended up being around 120 waypoint lessons that we gave away that day. And we taught all 3 of our lessons. And the cool thing about our lessons is that the 4th and 5th grade lesson is scalable. So that way we upped it a little bit for the high school students. That way they got more out of what they were learning. And we actually totaled the mileage, and it was 1,400 miles in 48 hours. So it was a really cool trip, and we learned a lot too. And after talking with their principal whenever we were there, Tim, he taught us that apparently the schools in Georgia, there's a lot of competition between the Christian academies down there. So in this little town of Douglasville, there's lots of competition, and they've been looking for something like this. So this will put them a little bit ahead in the competition stages, and they're hoping they'll actually have a FLL team this fall, and then we're going to help mentor them through calls like this and different things like that. And then they're hoping to have other teams join in as well. So it was a very good trip, and it was extremely a good experience for me too.
Well, thank you, Liv. Yeah, it was interesting to find out that there is a lot of competition between the schools, the private schools in that area, for drawing students to their school. And so the principal at the Christian Academy that we visited was very happy to find out about our program. The one thing that really helps out a lot, and Liv, you might have touched on this, is that whenever we visit a school district like that, we make a list of first teams that are within maybe a 10-mile radius of their school, so that they can reach out, and sort of like a reference list, I guess. But what's amazing to me always is that they'll look through the list and say, "Oh, I know this school. I didn't know they had a robotics team. I know this school. I didn't know they had a robotics team." So it's a real eye opener to the principals and superintendents that we're trying to start programs in your schools with. Katie, I know I talked about some advice about what we found out about trying to start teams in different school districts. Do you have any parting advice for teams?
Sorry. Sure. So I think I would just build on what you said about establishing trust relationships. Whenever we talk to superintendents, principals, parents, teachers, Board of Education members, anyone we talk to, they always want to know why we're doing what we're doing. And that's the most important thing we can kind of convey to them, is to share our vision. Because once they understand why we're trying to teach STEM lessons to elementary school kids and start more first teams to make a systemic impact, they are more willing to work with us and to start their own program or to allow us to come into their schools and give our presentation. And so understanding the motivation behind and our vision really helps establish that trust and gets us a lot farther. And then, as we mentioned in our other video, we found that superintendents like the idea of a robotics program in general in their school system, but they love the idea of a robotics program that makes a systemic impact. And so whenever we share that our team, based on the GACO model, actually impacts every single student in the entire school or school district, whether they are actually on first or on a first team or not, that's kind of a buy-in for those superintendents and principals to start a program, because if it affects more students, then that's definitely a positive thing for them. And then lastly, I would just say that build on your strengths that you have in your area, but also try to mitigate your weaknesses. And so in an area, watch your capacity for support, and a team has to know what their limitations are. So that kind of also goes along with knowing what your mission ground is and what your area needs, but then also about what the limitations of making that change are. And you can only do as much time and resources as you are allotted. And so kind of maximizing the impact that you can have while knowing your limitations is key advice.
That's very, very good advice. Katie, because I know you guys sometimes look at me as being a little bit crazy as to what we want to do, but you've always been great and backing me up. And so, anyways, yeah. So a team has to know their limitations, or they're going to be stuck out there. Liv, I want to go back to you real quick. You talked about having the contact that we made down in the school in Georgia. What was that contact again?
So the connection between that was between my dad's best friend in college, and then meeting up twice a year and talking about this kind of stuff. But we actually have all kinds of different connections, and some of them are kind of crazy connections, and they just happen to happen. But we don't have enough time to tell you all of them. The other thing that we do is, like Katie said, we do our homework. So we get the numbers of the schools and the school systems around them, and how many students are in each school. And then we talk about making that relationship that Chuck talked about at the beginning. And that's really important, making the relationship between the principals and the superintendents and the school system itself. After figuring out the relationship between them, then we arrange to visit the STEM and teach our STEM waypoint lessons to every 3rd, 4th, and 5th grader in their school system. And our 4th grade and 5th grade lessons about the binary numbers and the golden ratio are scalable through the high school, like I said we did back in Georgia. And during that visit, we touch on the different FIRST programs. And like Chuck said, again, one of our main things is making sure we have a team that's around them. That way, if they need extra support, they have that support to go to that team that's near them. And it's cool because they really don't know that those other teams are around them, which surprises them too.
All right.
So, go ahead, Chuck.
Okay. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. After they're hooked on FIRST, we start talking to them about the different FIRST teams and the different programs that they have, because we all know that there's different levels, junior through FRC. And we explained to them that not to start all at once and start all of the programs, to start with one, like an FLL team, and then grow from there to like an FTC team, and then after your FTC team, then build out to your FRC team. So don't take on too much at once. Start small and then grow after that.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you again?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's always great advice, and that's advice, just good life advice, right? When you start off with something, you want to start simple, right? Start small and work more complex. And Liv was right. We constantly look for ways of reaching out and making contacts to superintendents and principals, board members of other school districts. That's actually probably our hardest thing to do. And even after we have a contact, I'll give you a for instance. I think we have time. Yes, we have time. Another crazy story of how we get into a school system is we visited a school down in Wise County, Coburn Middle School. That was last fall, probably the end of October. And the way that we were able to get in that school is we have a GACO alumni who is a Marine, and he has a Marine buddy, and his Marine buddy's brother goes to that middle school, Coburn Middle School in Wise County. And through one thing and another, and making connections and Marine moms getting together, we got a contact to visit this school in Wise County, Coburn Middle School. So even after we started talking, it was really it was really hard for me to get through sometimes to the administration and to make arrangements and so on and so forth of our visit. And then when we got down there, of course, we did our STEM lessons, right? And they were overwhelmed with the impact the first team could have in a school, and they were very pleased. And on our way out, the principal kind of apologized to me and said, "I'm sorry that we were so kind of hard to get a hold of in the beginning, because we thought you were just another salesperson who just wanted to sell us something." And again, that's part of establishing that trust relationship, trying to break through that barrier and to say, no, we don't want to sell you anything. We just want to help you guys make a difference. And so that's make a difference through FIRST programs. So that's been our biggest problem is just trying to get that contact. And because of that, we just try to make the most of every opportunity that we have. After we left Coburn, we spent the night down in Southern Virginia, and then we competed at the Salem all-season event. I'm trying to think of the name of the event, but it was the team at Salem. Off-season event. And then, of course, we were there competing, and a family came in. And I always tell Katie, what's the pickup line?
We always ask, are you with a team?
Yes. So a family came in, and so we said, hey, guys, with a team? And so if they are, they say, okay, what team? And then say, oh, that's a great team. Wish you luck and have fun at the competition. If they're not, that is a perfect opportunity to start talking to them. All right. So in comes this family. We start talking to them. And then they find out they have nothing. They have no idea what's going on. But they're from Bath County, Virginia. Now, Bath County is a place that we really have targeted to try to get into. And there's parents here that want to start a program at their daughter's middle school. And so that right there opened up tons of doors. And the end result of that is that we were actually, again, right before the pandemic hit, we were actually able to visit Bath County and teach our lessons and demonstrate how a FIRST team can have a systemic program in Bath County. So again, best advice is to take advantage of every opportunity, and you never know what one moment can lead to. So there is a question there in the chat I saw. How did Gecko get the gecko as a mascot? Liv?
So our first name was actually the Garrett Coalition because it's between our southern and northern high schools. And so it was Garrett County, where it's got Garrett Coalition because we combined the two teams, or the two schools, sorry. And a few years later, someone actually saw the G-A and then C-O, and then Gecko is where that came from. And then we thought Gecko is close to gecko. So then we put them together and we got a gecko as our mascot. And then that's why it's blue and red too, because the southern ends colors are red and then the northern ends colors are blue. So we have blue and red on both the gecko.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool what you all have been able to do and just what gecko stands for. I think it's really awesome. But thank you all for speaking today. I think we learned a lot, and I think it's enlightening for some people who couldn't be watching. And just once again, I would like to take the time to thank today's sponsor, Dominion Energy. We have a short video from them, so please stick around and have a great rest of your day.